Well, hi, this is Ken with Village Green, and today I want to talk with you about rabbit damage. One of the most difficult issues we run into with lawns, especially over the summertime, is rabbit damage. And most people think of rabbits as cute and cuddly, but when you're in the lawn care business, they're not nearly as cute and cuddly because they can do some severe damage to lawns. What they will do is the urine will burn holes straight through the ground, and just create big old bare patches in the yard. The way you can identify that is if it's rabbit damage. A lot of times, not 100% of the time, but a lot of times, you're going to see droppings, and you can see that here in this area, and you can see it again here. And the strange thing is that this lawn has some pretty significant rabbit damage to it, and then it may be another 10 yards before we see another yard that has rabbit damage to it. They seem to be pretty territorial about which yards they're going to make their rabbit litter box. So the the time of year that we see this the most, that's going to be dead of summer, hot weather, and no rain. And what that also tells us is the solution to it is adding more water. If you're already watering an hour per week per zone, once in a while we will have to add in an extra round of watering. Usually I recommend, instead of just doing the 2, 4, and 6 start times in the morning, I will recommend also doing an extra visit or round of another 10 minutes, or if you're doing rotary heads, another 15 or 20 in the evening, maybe 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night. The lawns that are underwatered, those lawns are the ones that are going to look the worst, and what it does is it takes that rabbit damage and just puts it on steroids, because it's the watering that's going to rinse that urine on through and help reduce the amount of damage that this is doing to the lawns. So here are some other patches, just so you can kind of get a feel for what this will do to lawns. All lawns are susceptible to it. Bermuda, St. Augustine, zoysia, all of them are susceptible to it. And again, you can see here, lots of rabbit droppings here. So that is definitely the cause. Zoysia seems to be a little bit more susceptible, and I think part of the issue with it is that with zoysia, it's such a slow grower that it takes forever for it to recover. Whereas if you pour water on Bermuda and St. Augustine, they'll usually bounce back and be okay. So I have spoken to some people, especially here lately, that are following our watering guide, and they're doing the 2 days a week, the 3 start times on each of those days in 10 minutes. So my suggestion to them is to, in the summertime, if we're seeing this, add in a B program and add in one more start time of 10 minutes on each of those days. And we'll just run that during the hottest time of the year when we're seeing this damage. More often than not, that makes it go away. The hardest part is if we have drip lines, if we're in a parkway, that makes it harder, because what the water is doing is rinsing the urine through, because it's the urine that's burning the hole in the grass. And so what we want to do with the drip lines, they're the best I can suggest is still go ahead and bump up the watering to see if it has some effect, but it's much harder with the drip line. But again, if you're using spray heads, or a lot of times we'll see this with the rotary heads where we're underwatering. If we're underwatering, that's going to take this rabbit damage that might have been a little bit of a problem, that's going to put it on steroids. So the solution is we need to bump up the watering. So hopefully that helps you with rabbit damage in this area. Again, this is Ken with Village Green, local experience you can trust.